Well, in 10, the Misgav Daily Brief. I'm Laura Sellier in Tel Aviv. Somaliland has sent its first ever ambassador to Jerusalem. The African nation is celebrating its first Independence Day since winning recognition from Israel, the only state to do so. I'll be speaking to Shiri Fine-Grossman from the Israel-Africa Relations Institute in a moment. That's coming up, but first, your headlines. Iran says it has transferred its latest proposal to end the war to the United States via Pakistan. It comes hours after President Trump warned Tehran that the clock was ticking to make a deal. Trump is expected to convene his national security team in the White House Situation Room on Tuesday to weigh diplomatic and military options. The UAE says it has the right to respond to a drone attack that sparked a fire at a nuclear plant. There has been international condemnation of that attack on the Barak nuclear site near Abu Dhabi. The UAE is investigating the source of the attack, which may have come from the Houthis, the Iranian proxy group in Yemen, a group that has so far stayed mostly out of the war. Saudi Arabia, meanwhile, shot down at least 3 drones fired by Iranian proxies in Iraq. The Israeli Navy has begun intercepting a Turkish-led activist flotilla headed for Gaza. Elite naval commandos successfully boarded the lead ships in a 50-vessel flotilla off the coast of Cyprus after they ignored warnings to turn back. The convoy is linked to the Islamist IHH group behind the Mavi Marmara incident of 2010. The United States may ask Israel to transfer Palestinian Authority tax funds for Gaza reconstruction. Israel's holding around $5 billion in PA tax revenues. Those funds were frozen because of the PA's continued payments linked to terrorist-related stipends. The cost of rebuilding Gaza is estimated at $70 billion. A pro-Palestinian group targeting IDF reservists has filed a complaint in the Netherlands. The Hind Rajab Foundation claims the soldier helped to destroy Gaza's Supreme Court building during the war. Then the group points to videos allegedly posted by the soldier on Instagram. The IDF says the building had been used by Hamas. Israeli officials are increasingly concerned about soldiers' social media activity and how it exposes them to legal threats abroad. And tens of thousands of people are lining the streets of Hargeisa, Somaliland, as the country marks its 35th Independence Day. Israel was the first and is still the only country to recognise Somaliland's independence. Israeli President Isaac Herzog has received the diplomatic credentials of Somaliland's first ever ambassador, Mohammed Haji. Veteran diplomat Michael Lotem was named Israel's ambassador to Somaliland back in April. And just before we get to today's conversation, a reminder, you can sponsor the Misgav Daily Brief by contacting us at misgavdailybrief@gmail.com. Now here's Shiri Fine-Grossman. Somaliland celebrating their 35th Independence Day, but the first since they were recognized by Israel.
It's a big celebration today in Somaliland. They've been manufacturing a lot of Israeli flags for the celebration today. Hopefully we'll see more recognition. Throughout this Iran war, the recognition of Somaliland has really proved itself as something that we stand by it. We don't walk away, even in spite of the backlash from many countries. And that it's super important now that the world see how crucial choke points are for global trade, and the fact that Somaliland is sitting right on the Bab el-Mandeb Straits as a potential partner to secure that for all global trade, for Europe, for Egypt, for all the regions and other global players. But today is about Somaliland, their path to recognition. They are such a magnificent people, as I've grown to know many of them. I'm just so impressed at how independent they become, the innovative they've become in the world and standing up for themselves and their national identity, and how many similarities there are between us and them.
They are natural allies. They're democratic. They've built democratic institutions, much like Israel did in its early days.
For sure, there's more than 6 million Somalilanders very proud that they support Israel. That's almost more than 1.5 Israel Israel's population. That will only grow. I think it's magnificent. No other country recognize them. They're almost cut off the bank system, but they run their own economy. Their main GDP is livestock, where they sell to other Muslim countries. And there's a lot of Israeli technology who can really help with water, drip irrigation for agriculture, but also efficiency on water, solar energy. So much they can do, but you know, the innovation they've shown, they have on the buildings the number of the cellular mobile, and that's how they pay for everything. I really see them as true partners. And I you know, after coming from the Abraham Accords, I see the different countries, the different cultures, and there's something very, very strong about Somalilanders that it really keeps me optimistic.
The UAE may choose to recognize today. That would be a game changer, wouldn't it?
I hear not just the UAE. I know at least 3 countries that are seriously considering it. So there is a battle behind the scenes that is going on in various corridors of leaders throughout the world. The big one everybody's waiting for is the United States. The Trump administration is the most likely administration to do this. President Trump takes risks. He's not afraid to go with what he believes is the right thing to do, and the right thing to do is to recognize Somaliland.
Israel has diplomatic ties with 46 out of the 55 nations of Africa. Talk us through how those partnerships are developing.
It's an historic relationship. Golda Meir and David Ben-Gurion were very strategic, foreseeing how important Africa is going to be on the world stage. Many countries coming out of colonialization, young countries that need help with a lot of the things that Israel, as a young country, has already developed. So they reached out with, you know, agriculture as the main thing, but also education. The bond was very much on women leaders and partnership. But then there came a big crisis in the 67 and 73 war with the Arab state boycott, and many African countries were basically forced to choose between their survival or their friendship with Israel. And a lot of them chose their survival. And only then, after the Madrid conference and the Oslo Accords, most of the countries came back and had a normalized relationship. Since Benjamin Netanyahu 2016 said the return of Israel to Africa, we're seeing a more proactive approach. We're seeing more and more countries, even though it's wartime, meeting Israeli ambassadors willing to consider partnership cooperation agreements. Israel has proven it's very strong, both in technology and in security, and those are things that Africa crucially needs. There's a generational change going on in Africa. The Gen Zs are demanding a different kind of leadership, from effective government competence, serious improvement of their quality of life. These are all fields that Israel and the United States can contribute to in a partnership, looking at the leaders as their peers, as their partners, and asking them, what do you need? What can I do? How could we do this together? It has to do a little bit with, you know, the anti-Semitism we're seeing in other places. In Africa, usually Jews and Israelis are very much welcomed and will feel very, very safe.
We talk about young people in the West turning against Israel. Africa is a young continent, but the young people there don't hold those attitudes.
In 2025, new research showed Nigeria is the country from all other countries, the support of Israel is the greatest. The second runner-up was Kenya. South Africa wasn't far down the line, which is surprising given the political situation. But with the peoples there, it has to do with a lot, like the historic relationship I spoke about earlier, and, you know, the infrastructure that was built in Nigeria and other places, but also religious feelings, a lot of, you know, growing Christianity throughout the continent, as opposed to other population trends of Christianity around the world, which is roughly declining. In Africa, it's growing.
If you had to name 5 countries in Africa that Israelis should really be interested in.
Morocco is a favorite of a lot of Israeli. Kenya, Rwanda, Zambia, Tanzania, South Africa, so many. And you know, I have friends all over. I'm always optimistic, you know me. I'm very optimistic when it comes to Africa.
That's it. That's your Israel in 10. Subscribe using the link below. It just takes seconds. Goodbye.